We're very lucky to have Jessica Malzman with us. She received the Leslie Award and is now getting the award this year for the Kovod. And the Kovod Award means honor. It is an honor to have them serve with us and for them to serve the community. Jess, I just don't know where you come up with all the energy to do what you do. I mean, raising 3 wonderful kids, being active in the community, working. We forget you work full time, and you take care of a household, a busy household. You're just an inspiration, and I really feel you're an inspiration for all of these young people coming up behind you, and everyone should learn and see what it is to be a future leader, what it is to be dedicated to a cause. You are so dedicated to the JCC, and I know personally I feel honored when I see your commitment and dedication. So thank you for that.
My father raised me to feel very proud and passionate about my Jewish heritage. He is probably my biggest inspiration. When I was 16 years old, I went to Israel with my father for the first time. I climbed Mount Masada at sunrise on my 16th birthday with my father and my sister, and it was one of the most magical experiences of my lifetime. There are little moments like that that have led me to become really passionate about what I'm doing now. When I moved here, I did not immediately join the JCC because I had already made a lot of friends and relationships outside of the Jewish space. When I joined here, I was able to kind of connect those two worlds. I think it's a wonderful meeting place, and I think it's a wonderful way to educate people outside the Jewish community about the traditions and the culture and what a beautiful culture it is, as we are very small but also very diverse. It was hard to be out in the world, realizing that, not everyone's entire world has been upended by October 7th, and I have tried to teach my children about right and wrong and how we can do better, how we can be different, how often people that are mean or angry are that way because they're hurting. And so it's important to maintain a sense of empathy for others, even when you're hurting. I think it is really important to show up for people, for your community. It's really important for me that my kids see that I show up to things, that they feel the same sense of pride in showing up for the community, for their friends. When people show up, it's a way to show people that you care, not just about the person who invited you, but about the community that they represent. I think that's all we're really looking for, is to know that people care. So thank you for showing up.
Sara Temes is receiving the Kovod Gadol Award. It means highest honor. She gets this award because she's worked for years with us, helping us make decisions, important decisions. She's my go-to person for the hard answers. She's my go-to person when I really need good counsel. And we are so pleased to give Sara Temes the Kovod Gadol Award today.
It's so enriching to be involved in an organization greater than yourself. Being part of discussing the ways the JCC can help people move forward has been especially rewarding. As things have been difficult the last couple of years, especially as things have been difficult the last couple of years, it's been challenging to walk the right line and try to make sure that people understand without alienating people, hearing their perspectives, the people around the table at the executive committee or at the board. It's been I think it's been helpful to talk through this as a community. My husband David grew up in the Jewish community in Syracuse, and I think it's great for our children, Jacob and Lila, to see both of us out there in the community volunteering our time. There are different parts of your life where you take more, and I think your early child rearing years, you take more than you give because you really don't have a lot left. But I think also people who are parents, I would say to them that there's something about your kids seeing you involved in the community and seeing you involved in something greater than yourself, that you're not taking that time away from them, you're giving them something. So then when they go out into the world, they'll be able to have that enriching experience of being involved in something. I think the more that we can reach out, and this organization does reach out so much to the greater population, I think that that's the lesson that our kids need, especially the teenagers need, to be able to feel like they're making a difference and not just sitting by while this is happening. This Central New York community has given us so much, and to watch my teenagers now be able to have ways of dealing with these things with the other teenagers in the community, and also bringing in their non-Jewish friends to understand what it is that's going on in the Jewish community. I think that that's been something that they wouldn't have had if they didn't have such a solid foundation.
I've known Neil for such a long time. Neil was president. I was, I think, one of his vice presidents, and he had to correct me or chastise me because I did something wrong. And I'm going to tell you something. That was one of the most powerful lessons that I learned from a great leader. The executive committee was in session, and we were arguing over something and going back and forth. And I disagreed with what Neil wanted. So the executive committee voted with Neil, and okay, the majority won. Then we brought it to the board, and he said, well, the executive committee voted on this. And I raised my hand. I said, well, I disagree. And he called me up after that board meeting, and he laid me out. How dare you, when we discuss something in an executive committee, you have to be supportive. We have to go into that as one strong front. It was the most valuable lesson I learned for my future presidencies. It was just fabulous. I was pissed at him at the time, but I learned so much from him. Neil, you've been part of this community. You were raised here, and you knew that you had to be committed to make this community better. It is the community that your family raised you in as a young boy, your commitment to the JCC. But you went on. It wasn't just about the JCC. And that's what the Hall of Fame is all about. The Hall of Fame acknowledges an individual who has been part of the community and has not only focused on the JCC, but has focused on other agencies, other organizations, because that is what a strong leader is all about. And Neil, you're an extremely strong leader. You have led such organizations, such as the Foundation. You've sat on boards such as Menorah Park and the Federation, and you know and you have a dedication for this community. And we thank you for that. We're so proud to have you on that Hall of Fame. You know, about a year ago, you were looking up at the Hall of Fame, and I saw you from the back, and I said, that is our next Hall of Fame recipient. Of course, Neil needs to be up on that wall. And I gotta tell you something, Neil. I walk by that wall and I see our past leaders. Sometimes I get strength from just looking at some of those leaders. You're someone that will always give me the strength that I need when I see you. and your picture is hanging on the wall, and I promise I won't draw any funny pictures.
I've always been a big believer that Syracuse is a great place to live, a great place to bring up children. Both my kids went to the day school, and they got involved with the JCC, and it was there that they both found their love of basketball, and I think they have very fond memories of growing up here. I always felt that JCC was an important part of the community. You know, the temples had their own memberships, other organizations had their own memberships, but this was for everybody. And the center can be a meeting place for a lot of things, not only to get people together, but to educate. You know, when I first started getting involved with the community, I just thought it was a responsibility. I wanted to see it prosper. I wanted to see kids come back to the center like it was when I was a kid. I worked with people like Ernie Saracen and Ben Meltzer and Joe Roth, and people that just felt this overwhelming responsibility to make the community better. And then in 1984, I was invited to go on a national mission to Israel and Poland. Poland was under communist rule. So you saw the bread lines, goose-stepping soldiers, and really set the tone for what was gonna come, because the last part of the trip was a visit to Auschwitz. When I went through the camps, it was just hard to describe what it's like. When I left one of the barracks and I stood there looking out, the sky, aptly so, was dark. I was looking out at the gallows, and I just cried like I never cried before. I made a vow that day that I would do my part to make our community better, both within the Jewish and non-Jewish community, and do my part to make sure that Jews and non-Jews alike do not forget. There's this pond that was right next to the extermination camp. We were told if you put your hand in the sand, you pull up remains, which I did. I have a scrapbook, and I have this little piece that I saved that I look at every once in a while to remember. Now that I'm in my 70s, as many of us do, we look back, and I'm very proud of the things that I've accomplished. Hopefully my legacy would be that you have to give of yourself. We have to learn as a community, whether it be the October 7th massacre or whether it be anything else, that we all have differing opinions, but it's important to find a way to forge a middle ground, find a way to be inspired, to get involved. Our efforts are what is going to make it better for our children and our grandchildren, and hopefully many generations after that.
Every year when we give out the Leslie Award, we really consider what younger individual has done above and beyond for our community and has the potential of going on and even doing more. I've known Brian Raphael since he was a little boy, and I directed him in plays at the Syracuse Hebrew Day School. Never did I know that this young man would grow up to do such amazing things. October 7th hit us all hard. It hit us to the core. But Brian took it one step further. He couldn't sit back and be quiet. He wanted to fight the anti-Semitism that he was seeing, and he put his body and mind and his mouth where his passion took him. He knew that he had a passion to make a difference, and Brian has done that. Oh, Brian, I know you're going to continue and do fabulous things for this community. We thank you for everything you've shown us this year especially, about anti-Semitism and about facing our fears, because you have no fear. You just go after what you want, and you see it, and you know it, and you name it. Your parents should be so proud. You have a long history in this community as somebody who was raised by leaders in the community, and you make them proud. And I'm so happy that we can give you the Leslie, because it's so well deserved.
I'm very fortunate. There's no question about that. I am fourth generation Syracuse. I had some incredible family members that were mentors that instilled the importance of a strong Jewish community from when I was a little kid. My grandfather helped grow the community, not only the Jewish community, but also Onondaga County, being a prominent politician. My mother, the same. She followed in my grandfather's large footsteps and somehow made him even bigger. So obviously we have strong roots in our family here. When unfortunately October 7th happened, and to see the rise in anti-Semitism, not only internationally and worldwide, but also in our own community, we hoped that we would see our friends and our neighbors look at us and say, we see you hurting, how can we help? When we were looking around, there unfortunately wasn't anybody that was standing up for us. No one speaking out about this hatred, addressing this growing concern in our own community. And that actually hurt. Because of that, a group of us got together and said, what can we do to fix this? That's how End Anti-Semitism Now was started. It's based on 3 pillars. We would like to educate the non-Jewish community on the importance of having a strong Jewish community intertwined, interacting with the non-Jewish community. We would like to advocate to our leaders, Jewish and non-Jewish leaders, about the Jewish culture, about anti-Semitism, and addressing this hate speech. And then ultimately strengthening and coordinating with the Jewish community so we're more unified and we can all feel safer together and be proud of the fact that we are a Jewish community. We're about creating the content and advocating and addressing anti-Semitism, but if we need an infrastructure, we should bring that to the JCC, because everywhere else, other cities that I've been to that have thriving Jewish communities have a strong JCC. And I think that a strong JCC is extremely important in growing the Jewish community, making it feel safe, and making it a symbol to the non-Jews that we are here, we're not going anywhere, and learn about our history, learn about our culture, and learn about who we are. You always learn about the Holocaust and trying to figure out what would have happened to you if this ever happened. My whole life, I always wondered what I would be, and I thought that the resistance and fighting back was always with my personality. And I've always taken that to heart to try to make sure that we make sure that our future is stronger than our past. My 3 kids, my 3 boys, I do it for them. I was fortunate enough growing up in this community, not worrying about being Jewish. If I wanted to wear a kippah, I could wear a kippah. If I wanted to wear a mezuzah around or a Star of David around my neck, I did, and I was very proud of it. Whatever you believe in, you should feel comfortable saying it and being proud of who you are. I want that same feeling for my kids, for them to feel proud to be Jewish.